Welcome to Little More. I'm your host, Stella Littlemore, mindset coach, lifelong student of personal growth, and someone who's here to challenge, support, and remind you just how capable you really are. This podcast is all about ditching self-doubt, building unshakable confidence, and stepping into that version of yourself, the one who actually believes she can have it all. You can expect real talk, a little tough love, and the occasional existential crisis because, let's be real, growth isn't always glamorous. But here's the truth. You are worthy of more, and together, we're going to make sure it happens. Hello, you guys. I literally cannot. It's been a hot minute. I'm pretty sure it's almost been 4 months, maybe more, which is insane how quickly that has gone by. Welcome back to what is even the name of our podcast? Little More. Wow. She's fucking dusty. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of Little More, the podcast. That feels so weird to say instead of 19 miles. I honestly can't even remember. I think in the last episode, life was so different. And I believe we were called 19 miles. Things have changed. Okay. A lot has changed. The podcast name has changed. We've rebranded. I've moved back to Australia. I've been through a breakup, which is actually what this week's episode is going to be about. I felt there's no better way to catch up and bring you guys back with a new episode on what my life has kind of been like for the last, I'd say I'm very much moved past the breakup now. There's definitely certain things that are coming up that I am navigating as they come up. But yeah, I'd say the first few months after the last episode was navigating a breakup. And yeah, so I want to go into it because if you're following along on socials, you will have seen that I've opened up massively on my TikTok in particular about the breakup and how I've navigated it and the things that I've been doing to get through it. And just all of that, I just saw it as a good opportunity to bring you guys along and just give you girls my professional and personal experience in navigating breakups, because there's obviously been a few. I was engaged and I left that relationship, and then I was living in Dubai with Big Daddy, as you guys knew him by, and I left that relationship and moved back to Australia, and I'm just building my life back up here, which feels so weird to be back living in this country. I've not lived here for a few years now, and even when I did last live here, I was traveling in a van. So it's so weird to be living in a house and just I don't know, in a normal routine. It feels so weird. I'm kind of loving it though, just having a bit more simplicity and stability and security. Anyway, so let's dive into this week's episode. So basically, I'm going to talk to you about breakups. I'm going to touch on me navigating my breakup and just go over all of that stuff. And then as well, I am going to give you girls a bunch of tips on how to get through breakups and how I've gotten through mine and stuff like that. So first of all, I just want to say breakups are shit, okay? There is no sugarcoating the fact that they're really hurt, they're brutal, they could be quite traumatic. It's a lot of processing. It feels like your life has just been turned upside down suddenly. The person that you were doing life with, that you were building a life with, the future that you had planned and anticipated, there's a lot of detangling and a lot of emotions that come with that. So I want to start off with saying all of those emotions and all of that is so valid, but it doesn't have to suck, and you don't have to sit in this depressing hole for months on end and let that define the way that you live your life and the opportunities that you pass by. So I also want to say, please never define your worth on the success of your relationships. You are so much more than the relationships that you have around you. And I think one of the things that I've struggled to process, and I know talking with clients as well have struggled to process this, is in personally developing, you're going to leave behind people. And that can sometimes feel like you're doing the wrong thing, or is there something wrong with you for leaving people behind? But just know that in you don't feel guilty for outgrowing people that had the opportunity to grow with you. And that sometimes happens, and it doesn't determine your worth in the success of those relationships, because you are going to leave them behind, some people behind on this journey. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It just means that you're growing in its life, and people are here for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. I also want to say one of the hardest things that I found in leaving this relationship is I put so much of my worth down to the success of my relationships, and I was so ashamed in it not working out, and that meant that there was something wrong with me, or I wasn't qualified, or I really beat myself up in leaving that relationship. And I just want to say that don't be embarrassed that it didn't work out, and that your commitment to trying is a testament to you, okay? It not working out does not mean that you're not committed, that you're not loyal, that you're not worthy of a successful, healthy, loving relationship by any means. So going into tips in how to navigate a breakup. Girls, strap in, because I have a fucking few. So first up, you're going to have a lot more time on your hands. And even if you thought that you didn't spend a lot of time with your partner or your boyfriend or whatever, I think mentally, the mental real estate that they take up in your mind, the time that you spend with them, whether you lived with them, they take up time in your life, okay? And I want you to look at all of that time now as you've just gained all this time to invest into yourself, and to really take this time to learn and to grow and understand yourself on a deeper level. And that's really beautiful, because I always say, my friends used to call me a literal psychopath, but I'd be like, I kind of love breakups, because it's kind of like, I know that I'm going to glow up, and you should be glowing up in a relationship. You really should be. You should continue to grow with the person that you're building a life with. But I do think that there's just this newfound of inspiration, motivation when you go through a breakup to glow up and work on yourself, work on your business, work on your mindset, work on your body, surround yourself with all your girlfriends, all of these things. So really take that extra time that you now have as an opportunity to build your life up more, build yourself up more, and your friendships and all of that. Next one is to talk it out. Go to therapy, girls. Go see a coach. Do whatever it is. Literally just talk and talk and talk and talk it out. Because I know as well, talking to clients, and I know within myself, that often when things are going wrong in a relationship, we tend to not talk about it to our friends. We don't talk about it to the people that we know are going to pull us up on that. And so I saw this thing on TikTok, and it was yeah, I'm going to talk about it out loud because I almost died in silence. And I think that that's so true. And it's so healing. Okay. Talking about it is part of the process of healing. And I don't want you to for a second think that your voice, or you're not worthy of talking about the things that you went through and doing that, because it's needed to process it and to move on and leave it in the past, so that you can build a new life and you can find a new partner. Opening up and being vulnerable is a sign of strength, not weakness. Next one is reflect on the relationship deeply. I want you to really go through and ask yourself, what did I learn from this relationship? Was it I learned how to be loved? I learned to trust myself. I learned to trust them. I learned standards. I learned how to assert boundaries. I learned that I have boundaries that I didn't know before this relationship. Really reflect on the relationship deeply. What patterns do you need to repair? I always say to clients, we repeat what we don't repair. So make sure that you're looking back at what are your patterns in the relationships. Maybe you've been cheated on in every single relationship, and that's your pattern. So you need to look at that and be like, right, where can I take accountability in this pattern and put an end to it? Okay, maybe it's you don't have boundaries, or you don't have clear boundaries, or you have boundaries that are being disrespected constantly. You need to work on your boundaries, because somebody who is allowed to walk all over your boundaries and disrespect you over and over and over again, I hate to say it, but it can quite likely lead to being cheated on. So what is the pattern in your relationships? Maybe it's you keep surrounding yourself with, you keep jumping into relationships with really toxic masculine men. Okay, whatever it is, look at it. If you continue finding partners with similar patterns like controlling, cheating, drinking, etc., this is going to be savage, but you're subconsciously attracting these partners. And if you want to move forward into a relationship that actually serves you and serves your future self, you need to look at the patterns. You need to do the inner work. You need to do the shadow work. You need to heal, because we ultimately repeat what we don't repair. How did you grow? Where did you learn? How did you change? Did that relationship make you learn things in your business? Did it make you learn things about yourself? Did it make you learn things about what you do want in a relationship and what you don't? Reflect on it deeply and really ask yourself, where did you grow? Where did you learn? What did you learn? Where did you change? Maybe you changed for that person when you didn't want to. Maybe you changed for that person and it was for the best. Reflect on it. What red flags did you ignore? Girls, I'm calling us in. We have to look at the red flags. We need to, it's all fun and games when we're young and we have time on our hands. But if we continue to ignore the red flags, you're going to end up in another relationship that's a year. You're going to end up in another one that's 3 years. And suddenly you're going to be 35, still not found the one. You can probably see me tweaking out thinking about this. We need to reflect on what the red flags are so that you stop ignoring them and ask yourself why you ignored them. Were you delusional? Were you just falling in love with the potential of someone, the idea of someone? Was it that you didn't think that you were worthy of being loved? Or was it that you thought that you weren't worthy of receiving flowers? Maybe you thought that you weren't worthy of being taken on dates. Or maybe you thought that you deserved to be yelled at. Or maybe you thought that you deserved to be spoken badly to. Maybe you thought that you deserved it when he called you a low value woman. Whatever the red flags are, name them and ask yourself why you ignored them. Why did you put up with them? Because it's going to come down to an underlying fear or limiting belief that you have about yourself, and you must rewire that. The next one is, what do you need to heal from moving forward? So did you take on certain personality traits? For example, did you let them control you? Why did you let them? Because often this is going to stem from an experience that you had as in your childhood, and you really need to look at it and unpack it. And that is how you're going to put an end to your patterns and not carry them and project them into your next relationship or repeat them. Next question to ask yourself is, what needs to be addressed for you to start this next chapter of your life so that you can be emotionally healthy and whole on your own? Maybe it's your self-worth. Maybe your self-worth, your self-belief, your confidence, maybe it's so low and needs to be built back up so that you can move forward into your life free of this burden that's burdening you, and be able to actually attract the friendships and the relationships and the life that actually truly aligns with your highest self. The next one is to write a list of all the reasons not to go back. In my last relationship, it was, I think like all relationships, it was really good at the start, and then I guess gradual red flags started to come up and I ignored them, and I was quite ashamed of myself because I knew the things that he was doing were ultimately just not okay. And I guess I kept trying to convince myself of the future that we'd planned and the potential of this person that I ignored them. And I didn't tell anyone. I knew that it was bad. And once I made the decision to leave, I made myself write a list of all the reasons not to go back, because I kept telling myself maybe it's not that bad. Maybe he doesn't mean that. Maybe it's not actually mentally abusive. And it wasn't until I wrote a list of all the things, all the reasons not to go back, and all the things that hurt me and the things that were said and done, that I was able to look at it, that collection of reasons, and realize, holy fuck, this is really not okay, and you are worthy of so much more than this. And whether that means being alone for the rest of your life, that's okay, because living in this environment is gonna fucking kill you. And I really think that writing that list of reasons not to go back is going to help you in moments where you do think to yourself, oh, maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe I'm overreacting. And you can go back through and you can read that list and just remind yourself of what your reason is and all the reasons why you shouldn't go back. Because at the end of the day, our brains literally see familiarity as safety. That's not necessarily true, and it's not necessarily the case. And just because you've been in something for a long time and it seems familiar, or when that routine and that behavior feels familiar, our brains are going to confuse that as safety. So don't confuse familiar chaos as safe, because it's not necessarily the case. Next thing is to journal through everything. You girls will have heard me bang on about journaling so much, but truly it has been my saving grace time and time again, through the good, through the bad. But I couldn't recommend journaling enough. And something that I get my clients to do as well, I actually do this as well, is keep a video journal so that you can look back over the years or however long, and you can see that you can see your growth. Like, I could literally see in my face the swelling and like the puffiness in my face from being in this relationship, and the video journal entries that I had. I might like attach a video or something. I was just like holding so much inflammation, and I feel like it reflected my stress, and as well like hearing myself talk and how broken I sounded and the things that I was talking about compared to now. I can see like there's so much growth within that, and I think it's a really nice thing to be able to look back on. It shows you why it's so important to not ignore the red flags, to work on yourself, to build your strength and your confidence and your self-belief and your self-worth and all of these things up, so that you don't find yourself back in a place like that where somebody else's actions make that waver. Rejection will always be redirection. Whether the breakup was on your end, theirs, or a mutual one, always look at it as redirection, and it's just an opportunity for something better and something more aligned. This is the time to nurture your girlfriends. I remember my mum saying this to me when I was like, I don't know, it would have been like 16 or something, and going through a breakup. And she said, I was like, what am I going to do with all this time on my hands? And she was like, use this time to nurture your girlfriends. Like, you're not as close with your girls because you've been in this relationship and blah, 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 but use this time to hang out with them, go for dinners, like have little girls' nights, movie nights, have sleepovers, go for hot girl walks, do all the things. Because honestly, the love that you have with your girls is arguably one of the deepest loves. Like, I think being in love is amazing and it's so beautiful, and don't get me wrong, I'm a lover girl through and through. But I think that the love that you share with your girlfriends is like family, because girls love so deeply, and when we love each other, it's such a reciprocated, equal love. And I think obviously in the dynamic of a male and a female in love, it's very different. So just use this time to really nurture your girlfriends, spend time with them, lean on your friends, lean on your family, and just know that no matter how much time has been between the relationship and now, or the time that you spent with those people that you care about, they still care and love you so deeply, and you are never a burden. I think something that we can tend to struggle to do when we're feeling vulnerable is to open up to those people that we love and we care about and that we feel safe with and trust. But something that I always say to clients is, if you had your best friend come to you and they were really upset, they were crying, they needed a friend in a moment, how would you feel? Because often you would feel so honored and so just grateful that you can be that person to somebody else and provide. Like, it gives you an opportunity to give, and giving feels good. And look at that when you're leaning on your friends and your family, is you're giving those people an opportunity to give to you. So I think that can kind of help take the guilt and the shame out of asking for help and leaning on people when we need it. Next thing is to use this time to work on things people can't take away from you. Your mindset, your body, passion projects, work, your career, a new hobby that you want to start. Work on things that people can't take away from you, because that's going to give you so much fulfillment in life, and it's going to make you live a life more aligned to you. You're probably going to make new friends because you're going to be in new rooms and doing new things and around new people. Do it. Practice setting boundaries. So seeing yourself assert boundaries and people respecting them is going to help you rebuild your confidence and your self-worth back up. Now, you can practice asserting boundaries with family, friends, whatever, but you can also practice it within yourself. So if you say to yourself, I don't like drinking, or I don't like feeling hungover, the boundary for you then needs to be something surrounding that. So maybe it's, I really like socializing with my friends, but I really don't like being out late and drinking and being hungover the next day. So assert that boundary within yourself, and then respect that by, okay, I do want to socialize with my friends. How can I do that in a different setting? Okay, I'm going to go for a walk with them and grab coffee in the morning. Assert boundaries within yourself, and you're going to respect yourself more, and then you're going to attract people that also respect you, because when you respect yourself, you attract who you are, not what you want. By becoming the person that you want to attract, you're going to attract that, if that makes sense. This one's a bit niche, but if you're coming out of a relationship with a narcissist, there's a few things to understand. So Narcissists create a cycle of idolization, devaluation, and rejection, which is going to leave you emotionally drained and starved from connection. So this creates withdrawal-like symptoms. So if you think of the relationship as like a drug, and when you leave that, you go through withdrawals because your brain is essentially detoxing from the emotional roller coaster that this person has caused you. So before, when I was talking about like our brain associates familiar with safe. If you're safe, okay, the familiar has been going through emotional roller coasters like this, and then suddenly you cut contact, you go no contact, you break up with that person. Your body, your emotional, your nervous system is used to doing this. And so it's going to go through withdrawal-like symptoms when you stop going through those roller coasters. So that's when you will tend to see yourself self-sabotage. So something that I noticed that I was experiencing was, this is being so rogue and so vulnerable, is wanting to go out, party, drink, do anything to numb that pain or get instant validation from boys, or having the desire to go and sleep with people, or those kind of things. And I really had to pull myself out on it and be like, right, what is happening right now is you were going through withdrawals. You were so starved of love and connection and safety and security, and you're trying to do anything to numb those feelings that you're experiencing and just get some kind of instant validation from anybody that will give it to you. And I really had to call myself out on that when I noticed myself like having that craving for that instant validation, and recognize what it actually was. I want you to, every single time that you crave that person, or you crave going out and partying, or you crave doing something to numb the feelings that you're feeling, or wanting to go and sleep with some random, focus on giving yourself those desires first. Positive, loving self-talk, quality time with yourself, doing skincare, doing self-care, going to the gym, going for a walk, literally like giving yourself a hug, or giving yourself all of the things that you're actually craving in that moment. If you girls have enjoyed this episode, I want to invite you to watch my free masterclass called Healing and Thriving Again. I'm going to leave the link in the description in the show notes. I honestly can't believe it's out there for free, but honestly, really, really recommend. We go over building self-worth, building confidence, embracing independence and new beginnings, setting standards and boundaries. Rejection is redirection, investing in personal development, emotional maturity and emotional intelligence, attracting aligned opportunities, becoming magnetic, confidence, feminine energy, limiting beliefs, fears. Honestly, we go into so much valuable stuff in the masterclass, and I really want you to treat it like you've paid for it. It's so jam-packed with value. If this episode is something that has aligned with you or resonated with you in any capacity, I highly recommend you go and watch that. I'm going to leave all the information in the show notes. If this episode has resonated with you, I also want to invite you to join my brand new Reclaiming Her program. So this is an 8-week course called Reclaiming Her. It is essentially for you to reclaim your power and your self-worth. This program is for you if you are struggling with low self-worth, low self-esteem, self-belief, or low self-confidence after a breakup or some kind of trauma. If you feel trapped in patterns in unhealthy relationships, or you're unable to recognize those red flags or set those boundaries, this is for you if you're ready to heal past wounds and actually reclaim yourself and build a future aligned to your true worth. This is for you if you crave high value relationships and friendships that actually align with yourself. This is for you, only for you, if you desire lasting change in your mindset, your confidence, and your personal growth. Okay, if you're somebody who's just wanting a quick fix, this program is not for you. It's going to help you to heal from heartbreak and trauma by essentially following my blueprint to recovery after breakups and healing. It's going to help you to attract the relationships and the life that you actually deserve. You're going to cultivate self-worth, set healthy boundaries, and welcome connections that actually uplift you in your life. It's going to help you to recognize and break free from your toxic relationship patterns, and as well reduce the risk of repeating past mistakes and actually being able to confidently identify red flags and narcissistic behavior. It will help you to build unshakable self-esteem, self-worth, self-belief, and confidence, and to actually just feel happy and secure alone. It will help you to rediscover your true self and to really master emotional intelligence and emotional resilience, which is, I talk about it all the time. This is what has saved me in my relationships, in my friendships, in my business. Like, if you girls saw the things going on in my life when I showed up on social media or I had commitments to show up and do, emotional intelligence and emotional regulation is what has saved me. So we go into that. We go over learning to date again with clarity and confidence and just attracting high value relationships, not just romantic but platonic as well. It will also help you to embrace your feminine energy, which I find helps to invite that abundance and the balance and the flow that a lot of my girls are typically looking for in relationships. It's 8 modules, it's 8 weeks. We go over everything. I really want to invite you, if this has resonated with you, even if you're not going through a breakup, this program is a really, really powerful and valuable one in rebuilding yourself and getting clear on your life vision and the relationships that you want to have and the career that you want to have. And it's going to help you to build those foundations that are going to come with you throughout your whole life. If that's something that is of interest and you're wanting to know more details, I'm going to leave the link in the show notes. If you're wanting to open up a conversation about whether you're unsure or you're wanting to figure out if this is the right fit for you, please just send me a message and I will get back to you and we can discuss whether it's for you, what's inside, that sort of thing. I just want to say thank you so much for listening to my first episode back. I am so happy to be back and you girls are going to be hearing from me every single week. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to follow so that you stay up to date with the new episodes. Rate the podcast if you're enjoying it. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Little More Podcast. I love you so much and I'll see you in next week's episode. Bye.